If you're running Google Ads and using Google Analytics, you can use audiences from Google Analytics to target your ads and drive higher ROI. And you can also use audiences to optimize your Performance Max campaigns in Google Ads. In this video, I'll walk you through the steps to create an audience in Google Analytics and use it for campaign targeting in your Google Ads account. I'll also cover important best practices, including how to make sure your data is being collected with consent and how to set up a privacy policy for your website. Before we get started, I want to give a shout out to Usercentrics for sponsoring this video. Usercentrics offers a range of privacy solutions, including their Cookiebot consent management platform and their privacy policy generator. We're going to cover both of these solutions in this video. This ensures we're collecting data with consent to use with our Google Ads account. Before we cover these, we're going to walk through the steps to create an audience. So let's head to Google Analytics. I've already logged in and opened my Google Analytics property. So let's navigate to Admin. And let's select Data Display on the left and choose Audiences. We can see any audiences that have already been created in the property. By default, you'll have two audiences that are automatically created for you. These are the All Users and Purchasers audiences. The All Users audience includes everybody who has visited your website, and the Purchasers audience includes people who have completed an e-commerce transaction. Okay, now let's create a new audience. Let's select New Audience. At the top, we can create a new audience from scratch. And below this, we can see Suggested Audiences. These suggestions are custom to your Google Analytics property. They're based on how your property is configured and the data you're collecting. So you might see different options in your property compared to this one. And just to highlight, the predictive audiences use Google's machine learning to identify users who are more or less likely to take certain actions in the future. For example, you can create an audience of people who are likely to purchase in the next 7 days. You will need to meet Google's minimum thresholds for these to be available. I recommend taking some time to look at the suggested audiences. They're a great way to quickly create relevant audiences for your website. And at the very bottom, there are some general audience templates you can use too. For example, if you wanted to create an audience based on how people are finding your website, you could select Acquisition to start building an audience. We're going to create an audience from scratch, so let's select Create a Custom Audience at the top. Let's name our audience. I'm going to call this audience Email Subscriber Hasn't Converted. This audience will include people who've signed up to receive email updates on our website by completing our subscription form. Next, we need to define the conditions. Under Include Users When, let's click Add New Condition. Let's search for Page Location. And select it. Now let's click Add Filter and ensure Contains is selected as the condition. And let's enter the part of the URL that identifies the subscriber confirmation page. For my website, this is /signup/thank-you. And let's leave True at any point in time selected for the time period. Now let's click Apply. This means we're including users who have viewed the thank you page after they've subscribed to receive email updates. Next, let's add another condition to exclude users who have converted. To do this, let's click Add Group to Exclude. And let's click Add New Condition. Now we can search for the name of our key event used to report conversions. For my website, I'm going to search for Purchase. However, you can use any event that reports someone has converted for your website. If the event has already been collected, you'll see it listed and you can select it. Otherwise, you can select Create Event to enter it manually. I can see the purchase event, so let's select this. Next, let's look at the membership duration. This controls how long someone remains in the audience. The default is 30 days, which means after 30 days of inactivity, a user will be removed from the audience. You can adjust this depending on how long you want to include people in the audience. For a remarketing campaign, 30 days is a good starting point. But if you have a longer sales cycle, you might want to increase this to 60 or even 90 days. I'm going to leave this set to 30 days. Now let's click Save. Our audience has now been created. Once you save an audience in Google Analytics, it will automatically start populating with users who match your conditions. If your Google Analytics property is correctly linked to Google Ads, your new audience will appear straight away. So before we head to Google Ads, let's quickly confirm everything is linked and set up correctly. The first thing we need to check is that Google Signals is enabled. This is required for our audiences to be used for remarketing in Google Ads. To check this, let's select Data Collection and Modification, and choose Data Collection. We can see the Google Signal setting at the top. We need to make sure this is turned on. If it's not enabled, you can toggle the switch to turn it on. Google Signals collects additional information from users who are signed into their Google accounts and have ads personalization turned on. This enables cross-device remarketing, which means someone who visits your website on their phone can see your ads on their desktop or tablet. It also enables demographic and interest data in your Google Analytics reports, so you'll be able to see age, gender, and interest details for your users. We can see Google Signals is already enabled in this property, so we're good to go. The next thing we need to check is that our Google Analytics property is linked to our Google Ads account. If our accounts are not linked, our audiences won't be shared. To check this, let's select Product Links and choose Google Ads Links. We can see our Google Ads account is already linked. If you don't see your Google Ads account here, you'll need to create a link. To do this, you'll need to click the Link button on the top right corner and follow the steps to connect your Google Ads account. When linking your accounts, I recommend leaving the default settings enabled, including personalized advertising and auto-tagging. Personalized advertising allows your Google Analytics audiences to be used for remarketing in Google Ads. And auto-tagging ensures that clicks from your Google Ads campaigns are automatically tracked in Google Analytics. If you'd like to walk through the steps to link your accounts, you can find a link to my dedicated tutorial in the description below this video. Now that we've confirmed Google Signals is enabled and our accounts are linked, let's check that consent is being handled correctly on our website. This is especially important if you have visitors from regions with privacy regulations. If you're collecting data from your website without proper consent, your audiences may not be eligible for use in Google Ads, particularly for users in Europe. To check if data is being collected with consent, let's select Data Collection and Modification and choose Consent Settings. This page shows you if Google Analytics is receiving consent signals from your website. In this property, we can see both the Behavior Analytics consent signals and the advertising consent signals are active. This means the tags on the website are respecting people's consent choices, which is required for your audiences to be eligible for Google Ads remarketing in Europe and other regions. But what if consent isn't set up yet? Let's see what that looks like in another property. Let's switch to another property where consent hasn't been configured yet. We're now looking at the consent settings for another property, and we can see it says Consent Signals Inactive under the Analytics and Advertising sections. If your property looks like this, you'll need to set up a consent management platform on your website. I've included a link to my Cookiebot tutorial in the description below this video to help you get started. Along with collecting people's consent choices, it's also important to have a privacy policy on your website. A privacy policy is required for running remarketing campaigns in Google Ads, and it's something you'll need if you have visitors from regions with privacy regulations. Usercentrics has a privacy policy generator that makes it easy to create one. Let's walk through the steps to set this up. Let's head to the Usercentrics website. I've included a link to the Privacy Policy Generator in the description below this video. To get started, let's click Start Free. I've already signed into my account, so let's click Activate Free Plan. And let's click the button to create our privacy policy. Now we need to name our privacy policy and select the language we want to use. For my privacy policy, I'm going to select English. Next, we need to select the legal framework. The generator supports GDPR and US state privacy laws. And if you're on the paid version, there are additional options. I'm going to leave GDPR selected, and now let's click Next. Now we need to enter our business contact information. This includes our company name, email address, phone number, and domain. These details will be included in the privacy policy, so ensure they're the ones you want people to use to contact you. Next, if you have a data protection officer, you can select Yes. Otherwise, you can select No. And let's click Next. Now we need to provide information about how our business handles data. This includes the products and services we offer, the types of personal data we collect, and how we process that data. I recommend taking your time to answer each question when creating your privacy policy, but I'm going to fill this out quickly. Once you've answered all of the questions, click Next. Now we need to answer some more questions to create our privacy policy. And let's click Generate Privacy Policy. Our privacy policy has now been created. You can copy the HTML snippets and add them to your privacy policy page on your website. And if you're using WordPress, there is a plugin from Usercentrics you can use. I've included a link in the description below this video. We've now created our audience in Google Analytics and made sure consent and our privacy policy are in place. The next step is to find our audiences in Google Ads. Okay, let's head to Google Ads. To find our audiences, let's navigate to Tools. Then under Shared Library, select Audience Manager. Here we will see all of the audiences listed. And to quickly find audiences from Google Analytics, let's select Add Filter. Scroll down and select Source. Then we choose Google Analytics GA4. And click Apply. We can now see the audiences that have been imported from Google Analytics. This includes the audience we just created, along with any other audiences from Google Analytics. You can see details about each audience, including the size of the audience across Google's advertising networks, like search, YouTube, and display. If your audience was recently created, it may show as populating or too small to serve, while users are being added to the list. Now let's apply our audience to a campaign. To do this, let's navigate to Campaigns and select Campaigns and then Campaigns again. Now let's select the campaign we want to use. And let's select the ad group. Now let's select Audiences, Keywords, and Content and choose Audiences. Now let's click Edit Audience Segments. At the top, we can choose between targeting and observation. If we select targeting, this means your ads will only be shown to people in the audiences you select. This is ideal for dedicated remarketing campaigns where you want to focus your budget on people who have already been to your website. The other option is observation. This means your ads can still be shown to anyone, but you'll be able to see performance data for people included in your audiences. You can also set bid adjustments for specific audiences. This is useful if you want to collect data before you narrow the targeting of your campaign. For this campaign and ad group, let's ensure targeting is selected. Next, we can either browse or search for our audience. Let's select Browse. Now let's choose how they interacted with your business. And let's select Website Visitors. This is where we can see all of our audiences from Google Analytics. Let's select the email subscriber hasn't converted audience we created. Now let's click Save. Our audience has now been applied to the ad group. People in this audience will now be able to see our ads as they browse sites on the display network, watch videos on YouTube, or search on Google, depending on the type of campaign. So that's how you can create audiences in Google Analytics and use them in your Google Ads campaigns. Remember, for your audiences to work in Google Ads, you need Google Signals enabled, your Google Analytics and Google Ads accounts linked, and proper consent management on your website. And if you're looking for a privacy policy solution, check out the Usercentrics Privacy Policy Generator. I've included links to everything in the description below this video. If you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel for all of my latest tutorials. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.